Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss the another topic from Unit 2, that is origin of paired fins in fishes. In fishes, the paired fins are the pectoral fin and the pelvic fins. Other fins are unpaired. We have to discuss here how these pectoral and pelvic fins are formed during the course of evolution. For this purpose, the three theories have been put forth by different scientists. Among them, the first theory is the gill arch theory. What is the meaning of this? The gill arch. The this theory is described by the that is Gegenbar in 1817 and 1876. According to this Gegenbar, the gill arch theory of this Gegenberg that says the paired fins, that is pectoral fin and pelvic fins, are modified gill structures. The girdle represent the gill arches and the fin folds with their skeleton represent the gill flaps or septa. If you observe the diagram of this is a gill arch and this is a gill arch and these are the branchial rays, that is, and these gill arch and these branchial rays during the course of this is a central axis around which the branchial rays are developed. In the course of evolution, Gegenberg says that these gill arch, which were respiratory in function, they become the paired pelvic fin as well as the pectoral fin. This each gill septum is supported by gill from which rays extend into lateral parts. The median ray is believed to have been drawn out forming an axis, and those below and above it become arranged on either side. This is a central axis, and above it and below it these branchial forms structures that below it arrange on either side of it. The skeleton like that of the fin of the ceratodus might have been produced. The If this persists or happens, then how the position of the pelvic fin, which one is a posterior, is attained. The posterior position of the pelvic fin is explained due to migration of some arches. Gegenberg tells that some arches which have lost their respiratory function, which were not in a pharyngeal region, they have migrated to the backwards and become a pelvic fin. There are number of objections against this theory, and several morphological and embryological facts do not support this gill arch theory. What are these? The presence of some vestigial muscle buds in front of pelvic fins is believed to indicate their backward migration, but the muscles buds are found in the pelvic fins also, as well as on both the sides of the pectoral fin. Means those buds or the vestigial muscle buds which are present near the what? The pelvic fins, which are indicating the backward migration, these are also found on both the sides of the pectoral fin. Then the second objection, during development, the branchial arches, which are respiratory in function, arise from splanchnic wall of the coelom. But The girdles of paired appendages are somatic in origin, and therefore these both, that is, these branchial arches and the girdles of paired appendages, they are different in origin. Thus, gill arches and the limb differ basically from each other regarding their position relative to coelom, nerves, blood vessels, and morphologically the gill arches are internal while the girdles are external to the structures. Then the third objection to this theory: if the paired fins are derived from the gill arches or gill septum, they would be transverse to long axis of the body and would be an obstructing to the swimming movement, or it may hamper the swimming. During development also, a paired fin does not appear as a dorsoventral fold and is always in the form of the longitudinal fold. The fourth objection was the gill septum include only one somite, but the paired fins arise from the several somites. The participation of several segments in the formation of muscles and nerve supply of paired fins cannot be explained by this gill arch. Then the median and paired fins resemble closely in their structure and development, and this is not explained by the gill arch theory. The posterior position of pelvic fins may be due to ancestral gnathostomes having a large number of gill arches, but there is no evidence in support of this supposition, or there is no embryological evidence for this purpose. Then the last objection: the pectoral and pelvic fins must have been very close together behind the gills as they have developed from the branchial arches. But this position is mechanically very disadvantageous. The posterior position of the pelvic in modern fishes explained by assuming its backward migration, but they are not anteriorly placed in a primitive fishes or in the fossil forms. The anterior position of the pelvic fin in some teleost is a secondary feature. These all are the objections which are put forth, which are uh, on the what the Gill arch theory, which was put forth by the Gegenberg in 1872. That explains the what the paired fins, the pectoral fins and pelvic fins have been arised from the gill arches and the branchial arrays. The next theory which was put forth in 1876 by the next scientist, that is a Thatcher and Balfour. This theory was put forward almost simultaneously at the Balfour and Thatcher, and later it was supported by the Mewat. They tells that the paired fins are essentially of the same nature as the median fin and have been derived from paired longitudinal folds. What it explains, this is the complete what the median fin, and this is the lateral fin. What this theory says, these or the portion of these continuous fin fold, it get lost to form the median fins, as that is the median fins as well as the caudal fins and the paired fins, that is the pectoral as well as the pair, that is the pelvic fins and the anal fin. Means it tells that, or this theory of the Thatcher and Balfour, it believes that the fin, which is a continuous one, it forms the all the types of the fins that may be the paired or the unpaired. The paired fins are essentially of same nature as the median fin derived from the longitudinal folds. According to this theory, ancestral vertebrate has a pair of lateral continuous fin fold extending from behind the gills up to the end of the tail. These folds were separate in proximal part but fused in the caudal region behind the anus and forming a ventral fin fold. Beside this, there was a dorsal median fold. In Amphioxus, the paired metapleural folds of the continuous fin folds of the skates are put forward as evidence for this assumption. As the continuous folds were obstruction in swimming or creating problem in swimming and prevented the undulating movements of the body, the certain portions of these fold become enlarged while the intermediate portion disappear. What this theory states? This theory states that this is a continuous spin fold and it was causing a problem or during the swimming, and so some of the part it get extended or become longer, and the some of the portion it get lost. The portion which remained it becomes a fin, that may be the paired fin or unpaired fin, and the lost part having the it becomes a what, the degenerated. This is the how these fins forms. As a result, there was now left a pair of fins near gill arches, which we called it as a pectorals, a pair of fins near the anus, that we called it as a pelvic fin, on the dorsal side a median dorsal fin, and at the tail region there is a caudal fin. And during development, paired fins first appear as a longitudinal folds of the body wall. These Thatcher and Balfour they believed that the pectoral and pelvic fins were differentiated from original continuous fold. This supposed primary continuity from the pectoral to the pelvic region and may not be an essential part of the theory, and it is possible that paired as well as median fins were discontinuous from the very beginning. However, several facts such as great extension of muscle bud areas and the nerves, both in front and behind of the paired fin, concentration of fin elements, shortening of the fin base, presence of the large number of the muscle bud may be considered as the evidences in favor of presence of continuous fin fold in the ancestral animals. This theory receives further support from number of facts from the embryology and paleontology. The first one is the mode of development and early structures of paired and median fins are identical. Then in elasmobranch embryos and in the extinct shark, these are called as a Cladocellaceae, the paired fins are in the form of the longitudinal folds of the body wall and have parallel arrangement of their fin rays, and this suggests that there is a origin from the continuous fin fold. In Climatius fish, there was a series of small spines and finlets between pectoral and pelvic fin, which suggests that they were originally joined by which the continuous fin fold. The absence of paired appendages in cyclostomes may be mentioned in view that ancestral craniates had continuous paired fin folds, but as the cyclostomes are probably the degenerate of the ostracoderms, that it appears that lampreys and hagfishes probably have lost their paired fin folds which were possibly present in the ostracoderm fishes. This is the climate fish that having the what the at certain portion it gets lost or degenerated, and at some portion it gets elongated, which gets to form these are the median fin, then the tail fin or caudal fin. These are the paired and the pectoral fins, and this is the anal fin. Means this Thatcher and Balfour theory could explain the origin of the paired as well as the unpaired fins. Then the third theory, which was put forth by the Romer in 1966, that is a fin spine theory. The Romer in 1966 has put forth that the spiny sharks possess as many as the 7 pairs of spiny appendages along their trunk, and these appendages are thought to have served as a stabilizers. Means what Romer says, that 7 pairs of spiny appendages were present in the trunk and they were thought to be act as a stabilizer. In some forms, a fleshy web-like membrane was attached to each spine. All of these spines may have been lost except for the 2 pairs. The anterior pair would have developed into the pectoral fin, and the posterior pair that would have become a pelvic fin. Means in spine, means in spine, in spine, fin spine theory, the what in thin spine theory, it indicates that the what there were the seven appendages and out which having the spine. Out of that, only 2 pairs remain as it is, and 5 would get degenerated. There are some difficulties in accepting these hypotheses. These are: there is no embryological support to this theory, that the spines appear first in ontogeny and then muscles is not a suitable explanation, and there is no satisfactory argument for the fact why so many beds should appear for the formation of the median fin. This is the fin spine theory put forth by the Romer in 1966. Then the another difficulty or another problem in this theory, that the dermal spines are regarded as a special feature developed in ostracoderms out of necessity because they are not present in cyclostomes. The presence of spines in pectoral and pelvic fin is a specialized feature. The primitive teleost and mostly soft ray fins and dermal spines has developed in certain fishes like the coeluroids. If presence of spine is a primitive feature, it should have been represented in primitive teleost and also in elasmobranch. These were the objections on the Romer's theory, and the therefore if when we study all these three what the theories, the first theory, that is what the Gill-Arch theory, second one is the pinfold theory, and the third one is the spine theory, third one is the fin spine theory. The in conclusion we can say that out of these three mentioned theories, the lateral fin fold theory, it seems to be most satisfactory, and it has been supported by the Goodrich, the position of the girdles, the fins and the fin skeleton, the deprivation of muscles and the nerve supply from several segments are some of the evidences in favor of lateral fin fold theory. So we can say that the lateral fin fold theory is best, which describes the formation of the paired and the pectoral and the pelvic fin, as well as it also explains the origin of the unpaired fins, that is a dorsal fin, then caudal fin and the anal fin also. Thank you.